Welcome, everyone, back to the NoDQ review. I am Virtue, and we are at number 70. And I am being joined here by Aaron Rift, Robbie Weiss, and Big G. So we're back to 4 this week because we saw some of your feedback. So maybe we'll fluctuate from 5 and 4 depending on who wants to be on each week. How's everyone doing?
I'm doing good. Got the house to my house. Got the house to myself still, which is nice. Other than that, I'm doing good. Robbie, how you doing, brother?
I am doing quite remarkable, actually. I had a fantastic Wednesday watching NXT this week, which I'm sure we will cover here, but things are going great. Mr. Rift, how are things on your end?
Doing well. It's been a busy week for sure. We had Clash of Champions, Raw, SmackDown, NXT, 4 nights in a row of doing live streaming, and now we got the NoDQ review. So it's been hectic. It's definitely been a busy week, and I'm looking forward to the topics and seeing what everybody thought about all the different wrestling events that happened over the past several days. So let's go ahead and get started.
Well, let's start with Clash of Champions. Did it used to be called Night of Champions? Okay. I get confused with these names of these lower end WWE pay-per-views, but a couple things that interested me that happened. Of course, Luke Harper returned, and I think I probably said he was going to return at about 5 or 6 pay-per-views before it finally actually happened. So I was like not believing. I really thought the ball was taken home and he was going to just sit out his contract. But I thought that was cool. Now the interesting thing with this, he's with Rowan, right? They did the Bludgeon Brothers gimmick, so putting him back with Rowan makes sense. I'm still trying to figure out what they're doing with this Daniel Bryan thing. Like, are they going to turn him babyface, or is this all one ruse, and in the end, he's going to take all that punishment from them just to get one up on Roman Reigns, and they're all a group? I don't know, but I thought it was interesting. So we'll see what happens there. It looks like, did Luke put a little bit of blonde in his beard, or was that, he just looked something like different, right? He looked re-energized. Big G, what do you think?
Yeah, I like the return of Luke Harper. I kind of popped for that when he came out. I was like, holy crap, I was like, yes, finally, Luke Harper's back. I think he lost some weight or toned up. I don't know if there was any blonde in his hair. It
looked like different.
Grayish, Yeah, I did like that. I mean, the pay-per-view altogether was pretty decent in my view. I did like the Fiend coming out at the end and attacking Rollins. We all expected that to happen, but in reality, I don't think we wanted it to happen because we think it's still too early for the Fiend to be in the title picture. But that's my opinion. Robbie, what did you think, brother?
Just about Rowan, or are we talking about the whole pay-per-view in a little nutshell right now?
The whole thing.
Oh, man. I thought it was okay. Like, I thought some of the matches went on a little bit too long. They tried to do a little too much, and a lot of the stuff felt really overbooked. The Harper coming back was great because they work well together. They're a great tag team, right? We need better tag teams, even though if you're not a real tag team now, that's how you win the tag team belts, it seems, in WWE. But I don't know. Overall, the show was good. I thought some of the stuff was overbooked. That the championship match with Orton and Kofi, I felt it just went on way too long. I mean, I probably could have ended that match 12 minutes prior and maybe had something out of it, but I just don't feel that Kofi's getting a reaction anymore. But it looks like the fix for Kofi Kingston is on the horizon and his days as champion are numbered.
And now we know why this has happened.
And now we know why.
What's your thoughts on Braun Strowman? I mean, this guy gets pushed to the big matches, and they just don't want to put him over. What's your take on that, Robbie?
I don't know what there has to be something that we don't know about, either lingering injury concern or some backstage issue, because he has everything that Vince McMahon wants in a superstar. He's got the look. He's got the crowd behind him organically. He has a catchphrase that people seem to still want to chant. But when it comes to the big match, he loses. It's really similar to what they did with Bray Wyatt. As Bray Wyatt kept getting hotter and hotter, but it came to the point where he fell into this formula of, I'm going to interrupt you with a promo, lead up to the pay-per-view, and then I'm going to lose. And it seems Braun Strowman has all this momentum. He gets all the way to the pay-per-view, and then he loses. So I'm just not sure what they're doing with this guy, but I think that'll change as the brand split happens, when they have more opportunities for people to do things. Hopefully he has time to stand out, because I think he's one of the best stars they have.
All right, Aaron, I know this is rehash time for you. You want to add anything to this?
Well, I agree with what Robbie said about Braun Strowman. He is a choke artist at this point. He is 0-6 in pay-per-view Universal Championship matches, which, considering he's the monster among men, that's a bit ridiculous. And yeah, I felt like, I say this a lot, him losing to Lesnar was like the first nail in the coffin. And I don't know if he's ever going to be pushed as that guy. I really don't think they're going to put him in that spot for whatever reason. And I think it's really unfortunate. As far as the rest of the show goes, Luke Harper coming back, I was really happy about. And I think it's AEW. I think because AEW is looking to sign WWE talents, they decided to keep him around, and they feel he would be too much of an asset to AEW. Now, maybe some people think, well, that's ridiculous, but a lot of people consider Harper to be one of the most underrated guys in WWE and think that him going to AEW would give them just a little bit of momentum, and any momentum is no good. They got to do anything they can to stop AEW's momentum at all costs. And I guess we'll talk about NXT here in a little bit and get our thoughts on how that's playing out now that we're only about, less than 2 weeks away now until AEW starts. So, all right, let's move on.
Well, I have nitpicks from Clash with the 2 women's championship matches. So, seriously, is Bayley Crash Holly? You cheat to win and then you just run out of there with your title. What happened to these women being in the main event, right? Look at the Becky and Sasha match. What happened? Becky with the disqualification? That's a heel move. And they don't care anymore. Ronda Rousey is out of WWE right now, so the women are right back where they always were in the mid-card. Nothing against them, but can't they book them better? Yes, sir.
Well, Sasha Banks brought the chair into the ring. Becky was just getting revenge.
I do have to say I did enjoy it.
It's stupid because Becky, right, knows if she gets caught using that chair, the match is going to end in a disqualification. And if she's supposed to be Austin, the man, you win the right way. And it's dumb. I think it's dumb.
Austin won the right way?
When did Austin not win the right way? He won with stunners.
He would break the rules if he had to.
When? Name one.
All the time. He would get weapons. He would use weapons if they came into play.
Sure he did. That's bogus. You're defending crappy matches, and the women are no longer in the main event because Ronda Rousey's not in there.
I agree on that. It's definitely a sign that
doesn't matter who brings it into the match. When a babyface uses it, it's poor. It's piss poor booking. It's awful. Vince Russo said, "Who the hell's agenting these matches?" So whoever it is clearly doesn't. They're out of touch. This is awful. Big G, you want to add to it?
The only thing I have to say is I enjoy the Sasha and Becky match more than the Charlotte and Bayley match. So that's my opinion.
Well, there you have it. That's Big G's opinion. At least he didn't speak in Jamaican. So Kane was on Raw, okay, and a mayor of Knoxville City, county, whatever it is, and he won the 24/7 title. And that's really, can this belt just end, in my opinion? But I get it. It's the gimmick for R-Truth. We've talked about it time and time again. The most interesting thing with this is it led to Kane coming back at the end of Raw, doing his fire, and Bray Wyatt did the gimmick again. I like this with The Fiend because now when Bray does the Firefly Funhouse, he's putting these pictures on the wall, which I think is a nice touch. I like the way they're integrating the Firefly Funhouse into these promos now. They need to be clever with this split personality. So, Big G, I'm going to go back to you on this. Right. What was your thoughts of Kane and the R-Truth stuff? But more importantly, you got to dig what they're doing with The Fiend and the Mandible Claw.
Oh, yeah. Well, like I said before, I like stupid funny. I like comedy. So I kind of laughed, when R-Truth ran into the pole and Kane was like, well, I'm going to pin him 1, 2, 3. And then he chanted, I still got it. I enjoyed that, I think it is R-Truth's title. Nobody else but him has won it back and forth multiple times. Kane coming out, and putting over Bray Wyatt or The Fiend. I enjoy that. I enjoyed the legends putting over the younger talent.
Younger.
Austin could have done it. Or
Bray's been doing this for a while.
Yeah, who?
Bray's been doing this for a while, and so keep going.
Yeah, but I'm enjoying it, and I'm enjoying the promos actually being live. Him interacting with Rollins, and You know, hopefully they do it right and they put him in the Universal title. And if they have him win it, don't have him lose it right away. Have him on like a lengthy title reign. And then maybe down the road, at Survivor Series, we're probably going to see Lesnar versus The Fiend. And you're going to have to put The Fiend over Lesnar, Because then, Lesnar winning, okay, but then you ruin The Fiend's character.
Just bring a chair into the match. You can figure out an ending.
There you go, DQ. Yeah, they'll just do some DQ or count out. We're not shocked.
Yeah. Other than that, I'm happy for Bray Wyatt. He's got this renewed push. Like you said before, Virtue, when we do a Virtue Rage, he would be the perfect, horror character for like the newer generation.
And that's also what you were saying a minute ago. That's also if Kofi even loses the WWE title.
Oh, we'll get to that. All right.
Aaron, are you done? Big G?
Yeah, I'm done. Yeah,
sipping your water. Aaron Rift.
So my thoughts on Bray Wyatt, I'm just loving the gimmick. And one cool thing about it is that he's not doing much in the way of wrestling. He's going out there and doing sports entertainment, which I love. That's how you build a star. That's how you take somebody to that next level. You actually give them a character and do more than just matches. I mean, he's had one match. I think he's actually only been in one match since his character got rebooted, and he's the hottest character in the company. So sometimes less is more, and there's other ways to build a character other than just having them go out there and do moves. Bray Wyatt's making the most out of doing very little physically, and that's going to lead to longevity with his career and ultimately more money, and probably he's going to have more success as a star. I mean, this is the freshest thing we've seen on WWE in years. And if WWE plays their cards right, this guy's going to be the man now for the next several years. I mean, theoretically, if they keep him strong, you got a huge list of opponents he can face. Big G, you mentioned Lesnar as a possibility, which they should definitely do, and Bray should beat him. I mean, they'll probably do a cop-out, but I'd love to see Bray beat Lesnar. You can eventually do Demon Balor versus Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, The Fiend versus the Demon. You can do Braun Strowman, rehabilitate Strowman, build him up again, and then do Strowman versus Bray Wyatt. There's so many guys on SmackDown too. Roman Reigns eventually could have faced the Demon Bray Wyatt, or not the Demon, the Fiend. Lots of possibilities. Lots of guys you can line up Bray against over the next year or two. And I just hope WWE doesn't blow it. I fear like they're going to try to do some cheap finish in Hell in the Cell to keep the title on Rollins. And to me, it's going to be Ryback all over again. And I mean, I feel like Bray's even hotter than Ryback was in 2012. Like, because Ryback, some would argue, was like a second-rate Goldberg. With Bray, he's just his own unique character. There's nothing like him. Some people are comparing him to Undertaker and Kane, but he's his own thing. He's doing something totally different. So,
do you like him knocking off these legends? And I feel if they're going to continue to do this, I mean, you got SmackDown coming to Fox soon, and who knows who's going to show up? We got Austin probably.
They said Sting is supposed to.
Maybe The Rock, Undertaker. I mean, Wyatt needs to go for the big names and do what he's done to Jerry Lawler, what he's done to Mick Foley, what he's done to Kane. If he does it to like an Undertaker or an Austin, that's going to mean even more.
If I'm not mistaken, they're advertising Sting for the SmackDown. So maybe have him go after Sting. I think if they go after Sting, I think that would push him up even more because Sting, is up there with Undertakers and Kanes and people like that. So,
Robbie Vice, what do you think? I know you wish you were the 24/7 champion for at least a minute, but
I don't hate the title at all. I think it's R-Truth's gimmick. It's fun. The only thing I dislike about it is the people that chase him that look like idiots because they're never going to win anything. And that's if you're chasing the 24, like R-Truth is his own thing, right? But if you're chasing the 24/7 title, you are a loser in WWE, and you're not going to amount to anything unless you happen to be Bobby Roode. Yeah, unless you're Bobby Roode.
Someone said hit Benny Hill music every time they run it.
They should. What now about Bray Wyatt? Sometimes they say these devastating injuries can ruin your career, but a devastating injury saved Bray Wyatt's career because he was about to debut as Sister Abigail with a very terrible gimmick. If you remember, people were laughing at him in the stadiums when he was doing that Sister Abigail voice. And to go from that to what he is now is such an incredible transformation. And it's like the I haven't seen something this intriguing since the broken Matt Hardy of the TNA Impact, where someone had so much creative control and you could just tell they dive into that character. And the thing with Kane is always great to see. He's a professional. He's a true legend. And this is actually, I believe, the second time he's put Bray Wyatt over, because didn't the Wyatt family drag the Undertaker and Kane away and supposedly steal power from him or something weird like that?
Yeah.
Well, he beat Kane in the Inferno match. Ring of Fire at SummerSlam.
Right. So him and Kane have some history. I think it's, again, something you guys touched on. Having the pictures in the background during his Firefly Funhouse is just a fantastic touch. And all of these are just Bray Wyatt things. So as long as Bray stays in control, I think his character's in a good direction. I'm concerned that they're not going to put the belt on him at Hell in a Cell, even though they absolutely should. Because I agree with you guys 100%. Even a disqualification, not putting the belt on him is going to take major steam off of his heat right now. And they need to just push forward. And it could be a good program for Rollins to try to get back at it. But at this point, I think Rollins needs an injury and some time off to kind of recalibrate his character a little bit. I think he's getting a little boring.
There's an old cliche. Oh, sorry to interrupt you. There's
Go
a
ahead.
Cliche. Strike the iron when it's hot.
Right.
So here's what, I mean, if they're going to go ahead and push The Fiend, I mean, have him Mandible Claw, a big name on the first SmackDown on Fox, right? Have him win the Universal title and let him ride with it. Unstoppable, wins, never loses. Why not? CM Punk held that title the WWE title for a very, very long time. Right. AJ kind of had it for a long time. Why not? Do it. Go with it. Make a star.
Yeah. One more thing I wanted to add. People are saying that, for those that are arguing it's too soon, I mean, the counter to that is Bray's already been in WWE now for 7 years as the Bray Wyatt character, 6 years, something like that. So he's been around. It's like his character was reinvented, just like when Kane lost the mask. Kane was immediately pushed as he should have been. And I think the same thing applies to Bray Wyatt. He just reinvented his character. It's the same Bray Wyatt, so just go with it.
And he's been a champion. Say
98, 99 Mick Foley, you can say that with, too, when he finally got pushed to the top.
And Undertaker, when Undertaker would change up his character and be pushed right off the gate, Undertaker went to the Ministry of Darkness. It wasn't like, we gotta push Undertaker's in the Ministry of Darkness, slowly build him up for 9 months or something. No, he came back, Ministry of Darkness, bam, you get him right in there in the main events.
Let's move on to this topic, and this is going to be touchy. I think we might get some heated here between two of us, but Rusev is back. So they're playing this angle with Maria and Mike Kanellis, right? And anybody's the father but Mike Kanellis. So Ricochet, you're the father. Okay, let's have a match. I mean, just dumb. And then, it's Rusev. And Rusev returns, right? Looks like he's in shape. He's got his little mustache going on. I saw some tweets going on there, I think, from the NoDQ account. This is Russo-style writing. When did Russo have babies in the writing? Did he? I mean, we know he did the Viagra on the pole. David Arquette himself as champion. He had to throw a bunch of crap on the wall in WCW 2000 because his second term there, when he went back after he went home, he admitted it was bad. It was bad, and he had to do anything he could. I mean, he knew it was over. Why, Aaron, the Russo-style writing comment, right, from
Stacy Keibler? Stacy Keibler was pregnant in WCW. Russo was actually apparently going to be the father.
Okay, and why do you keep reverting to WCW 2000?
Okay, well, Terry Runnels, PMS, she was pregnant and miscarried or something.
Mae Young had a hand.
I think that was after Russo left.
Was that after Russo?
Can't put that one on.
But do you have proof that, because Russo actually shot this angle down, like he thought it was awful. Now, we know he's been very, very creative with some of his far out there ideas, right? In WWE, all those ideas you're saying still had to go through Vince McMahon. So, again, why you pinpoint the guy that has the highest ratings as a head writer in the history of wrestling? You know what I mean? As a negative, it kind of felt like it was a negative thing.
Well,
when are we going to start looking? When are we going to start looking at ratings now as an all-time low? And what are you talking about?
Virtue, for one, though, those ratings are a little bit I would never attribute those ratings to any one person on the writing staff. Those ratings are attributed to having the two biggest stars of all time with The Rock and Austin, the biggest drawing power that we've ever seen. Rock,
and Russo
Austin,
left
Undertaker.
those stars, and they continued to do work a couple of years after he left, and the ratings weren't anywhere close. So I'm not saying
the ratings plateaued years later, but I think that's when the industry died. When WCW died and the competition went away, the product started to get stale, and I think that's when fans started walking away. I'm not going to say that I'm not going to hate on Vince Russo because Vince Russo did some great things. He did some bad things, but I don't think he was important enough in that era to attribute all of the negative or all of the positive to just one person. That's my stance on it.
But you said all of the negative and all the positive. Some people. Right. Anything that's negative and a far out there storyline, it's pinpointed to Russo. That's really what I want. Cut the guy some slack. There's multiple people backstage that are responsible for these things. And outside of WCW 2000, when there was no Vince McMahon he was working with, seriously, the guy did everything he could to save WCW. He put the title on Booker T, right? Everybody says put the title on the new generation, the next generation. Russo was one of the first guys that said, let's start doing this. No one gives him credit for that.
The problem was they put like 20 other people as champion before that happened. That was the problem.
But was it a problem, though? I mean...
Yeah, when you hot
Vince McMahon was the WWE champion, right?
Yeah, that was dumb.
But it happened. So, again, you critique Vince Russo back then when it was popular product. You got to critique Vince McMahon. And why is nobody?
I argue Vince McMahon was the worst WWE champion of all time. So
why does no one give Eric Bischoff? He found a formula that could beat WWE, and he also killed it within. Why does nobody say that? Why is it always Russo?
Oh, Bischoff was stupid, and the Hogan Bischoff era in TNA, like that.
Can we agree? And then I'll pass it along for everyone's thoughts, mostly on this Mike Kanellis Maria angle. Can we agree that? Really what it comes down to is egos backstage in politics, and ultimately that's what can hurt creative the most. Big G, what do you think?
As far as the whole Russo thing or the Maria and Rusev?
All of it, specifically the storyline that...
Well, I have nothing against...
Heyman's involved with this, mostly right now. Him and Vince McMahon are right.
I have nothing against Russo. I don't think he would have done this kind of segment. But as far as the segment goes, saying Ricochet's the father first and then Mike, challenging him to a match. In real life, bro, you would have started a fight, I'm gonna meet you out. I'm gonna meet you outside for a match. No, I'm gonna meet you outside and kick your ass, for being the baby daddy. And then stupid me, I had to put on the NoDQ chat, the Maury Povich thing, saying, you're not the father. And then Maria saying that you are the father for Rusev. And then Rusev coming out and having a match with Mike and beating him up. And I don't know where they're going to throw Lana into this, It's good that they're doing, real life stuff, but they need to get their stuff together and know what they're doing. What's up, Robbie?
You can't really say that they would go out and have a fight when you have one of the greatest storylines ever of Kane supposedly murdered the Undertaker's parents. Or the Undertaker murdered his parents, so Kane joined the WWE to wrestle him in a match. So that is wrestling 101, and that is one of the things we have to put our blinders onto, and everything leads to a wrestling match. Because
I know. But,
Well, but it didn't lead to it in a second. There was a monster buildup.
There's also the Undertaker versus Mike.
He's the father. Okay.
Or if you're going to say, "Hey, meet me in the ring," at least don't say I'm going to meet you in the ring for a match.
I guess I'm saying poor Ricochet. They could have put anybody else in there. They could have put Zack Ryder in there or Hawkins. No, they had to put Ricochet in that spot.
And I don't know. Like I said, hopefully they do this storyline right. And I don't know how Lana's going to be involved. Maybe Maria is just saying Rusev's the father, just to throw another name out there.
That's what I think.
Just to throw some heat between, Lana and Rusev. Because they tried that before with Rusev and Summer Rae and Ruru. So, I don't know. I like that Rusev's back. I like his new look. He looks like he lost some weight. Toned up a little bit. So hopefully this will be a kind of a renewed push for Rusev.
Robbie, what do you think? Who should is it gonna is this story gonna come down to it's really Mike and Maria was just being a bitch? Like, what do you think?
Well, what I think is I don't care, but I think this will be the running joke until it leads to some kickoff show that no one talks about after it's over. Good for them for being on TV and making some money, but I don't care. I think they'll probably make him the father just on the behalf of the child who may watch this someday. I always think about things like that. Like, I know the kids know that this is all an act, but like the kid's gonna see this on YouTube someday and have some serious questions for his parents. So I don't know. I think for the kid's benefit, they should end with the right father being named. I don't know, but I don't.
Aaron, anything you want to add to this? By the way, Russo was not responsible for the hand from Mae Young, and he was also he was not responsible for Katie Vick either.
Right, and I mentioned that earlier. I mean, I'm entertained by the Mike and Maria stuff. I don't really have a problem with it. As far as Rusev coming back, I like his look. I still miss him and Aiden English being together. I miss Aiden English. I know he's doing the commentary for 205, but man, I miss his shtick, excuse me. And yeah, nothing else to say about it. I hope Rusev gets a solid push now, but I don't know if he's gonna be able to regain that popularity that he had during the peak of Rusev Day. But as you said, Virtue, it was a fad. So
I think the tank at WrestleMania, like there was no recovering from that. But he sold a couple shirts. Maybe he made a couple bucks. Moving on. This is who picked Baron Corbin to win King of the Ring originally? Aaron, I know you didn't. Robbie, you probably didn't.
I picked the Irish guy.
I picked McIntyre.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I didn't do the bracket, but I said on Twitter, number one pick was Baron Corbin, and they went with it, and he won it. And I even said if he won it, he should go up to the throne and all that and just kick it over and tear it. Like, I don't need to be a king. I'm just the best, Now, it's weird because as he did the coronation on SmackDown, they did have Gable come out, and it kind of all got destroyed. So I'm just wondering going forward, he'll probably just be called King Corbin as a reference, but maybe won't come out. I mean, think about it. In 2019, you can't. I mean, this is 80s stuff. He better not keep coming out in a crown. It worked for Booker T because he kind of lost his mind. But Aaron, what do you think with this? Like, I think all he needs to do is be referenced every now and again by the announce team as King Corbin. But I think he just needs to continue the string of having good matches with good wrestlers. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think coming out there with the crown and the scepter, it's a bit hokey. And look what happened when Wade Barrett won it. I mean, it just didn't work. The only guy that really made it work, like you said, was Booker T in modern times, at least. Owen Hart did a great promo, and he called himself the King of Hearts. So we'll see what happens with Corbin. I do agree, like, it should be more like Brock Lesnar's win, where Lesnar just won King of the Ring, and he didn't do the crown or anything like that. He's just King of the Ring, That's what I would do with Baron Corbin. Let him just reference himself as king, and I'm fine with him winning. Like I said, I think that he's really proven himself to be one of the best performers in WWE. I know people give him a bad rep, but the guy's been putting on lots of great performances. He can get heel heat. I mean, the guy's really earned his spot in WWE as far as I'm concerned. Robbie, what do you think about Corbin?
No, we talked about this before. I think Baron Corbin's one of the top heels in the company. People don't like him. People boo him. He gets a reaction. He's not like Kofi Kingston at the end of the match this last weekend, where he doesn't get any reaction, where you could hear a pin drop. It's not like when Natalya walks out and gets beat up and people chant, "You deserve it." This guy gets a genuine heel reaction every time he goes out there, and that's what you want from your superstars. I don't want all the heels to go out there and be cheered like they're Stone Cold Steve Austin, or when Seth Rollins was kind of edgy, or Ambrose when he was kind of edgy. He's a full-on heel. He plays the role great. And not only that, I would say he is the most improved wrestler in the last year. He has put on some fantastic matches. He's safe. His moves look amazing, right? And he plants them every single time flat on their back. He hasn't hurt anybody. And I don't know. I want to see where they go with it. I don't want to see him wear the crown and all that stuff. I want him to be condescending and refer to himself as royalty in his promos or something like that. But hopefully he can move on to a mid-card title, hold it for a while, and see if he has what it takes to move further than that. I think he does, but, we'll see. Vince changes his mind every 6 months on who he likes, so I don't know.
Big G, Corbin's the type of guy Russo would love to push. I'm going to talk more about Russo. And by the way, Robbie, I was thinking what you said earlier. Ringmaster and Rocky Maivia, the blue chipper. They started getting scripts from Vince Russo and became stars. I mean, it's a team. It's a team. It takes writers, it takes talent, it takes opportunities. Big G, is Corbin getting that opportunity? What do you think?
I think so. You guys made great points. He is a great heel. I'm starting to. I hate. As a heel, you want to hate him, but I like him as a heel. He does great stuff. Like you guys said, he's had great matches in this past month or so with the King of the Ring. That End of Days, the way he got Chad Gable into that End of Days was just awesome. I like his deep six, that he just spins him around. I think he'll do good. He doesn't need, like you guys said, he doesn't need to wear the king or the crown and the scepter and the cape. I'm glad Chad Gable, destroyed it all. And how he comes out and like Mike Rome used to say, a former United States champion, former United States or Money in the Bank winner. He could say, he could do all that. And now the King of the Ring, Baron Corbin. And like you guys said, every now and then say, King Corbin, but not do it every day. And hopefully eventually, he's had the U.S. title, push him, have him go back to SmackDown eventually and push him into the WWE title. I think he's, like Robbie said, he's the most improved wrestler of like this year, and he really is. So put him in the WWE title picture.
What if he showed up in NXT? Let's talk about NXT on USA. That first hour. So it's going to be 2 hours, right, when it goes head-to-head versus AEW? Because I was a little confused with that last
Well, it
night.
was 2 hours. Second hour was on WWE
I'm talking
Network.
on USA Network.
Yeah.
I like that first hour. I liked Velveteen Dream versus Roderick Strong. I like the fact that they put all the major titles finally on Undisputed Era. I said this a year ago. I'm glad they finally did it because I thought that they were kind of looking at them as a joke, like Sanity or something. So that was a great action-packed hour. Now, did anybody here have that network issue? I did not watch the full second hour, but when Aaron said the one match was hot on the second hour with Leo, I did go on and fast-forwarded to that spot to watch that, and it worked. So did anyone else have that network issue?
When I
go ahead, start talking about the NXT.
So I enjoyed both hours, but the first hour I enjoyed. They had that good fatal 4-way with the women, and Candice LeRae is now the number one contender against Shayna Baszler, and I think that's in 2 weeks' time when AEW goes on. The second hour, as soon as the first hour ended, I went, turned on the network. I was having login issues saying, put in your login. I'm like, okay. And I think within like 10 minutes, it finally worked. So I started it from the beginning, and then I would just fast forward through like the stuff that I really didn't want to watch. And I caught up, and I did enjoy Leo Rush versus Oni Lorcan. I've known Leo Rush since he started back in Maryland.
You've known him. Like, would you go to Longhorn?
Well, not known him, but I've seen him grow up. From the time he started in MCW up until now. Just like Velveteen Dream. I saw him when he started out here in MCW, and he worked his way up. Everybody did a great job last night on the debut episode of NXT Live. I had no complaints about it. I'm happy that they're finally live on USA, and hopefully, when AEW comes around, there will be like a Wednesday Night War, but I don't think AEW is gonna top NXT anytime soon.
Ooh, that's a bold prediction. I mean, I talked about the viewership numbers, and I predicted they would break 1 million, which they did. They did like 1.17, something like that. So
for the first hour,
that's encouraging because that NXT pilot thing they did on USA a year and a half, 2 years ago was only like 800,000, but this was live. So
and I did enjoy the Killian Dane, and Matt Riddle, because they're going to have another street fight next week, and then whoever wins that match will face Adam Cole on the October 2nd episode, going head-to-head with AEW. So, and next week they got Keith Lee versus Dominic whatever his name is.
Dijakovic.
Yeah.
I know you love NXT, but can you pass it to Aaron now?
Yes, go ahead.
Aaron, did you get the commercial? I don't know how you get your cable. Did you get the commercial on USA of AEW? I have Spectrum here And I did. I got the AEW commercial, TNT on USA. That's weird. What do you think about that?
Well, I don't blame AEW for buying TV time. I mean, that's a smart move, but I did not get it. I have Sling. I did get the Pizza Hut commercial about 5 or 6 times during the hour. So if you guys are going to go get pizza, make sure it has pizza in the name. Go to pizzahut.com and order a piping hot pizza right now.
Benji's hungry.
As far as like AEW and NXT goes, I mean, it's definitely an encouraging sign that the rating was solid. But I feel like it's probably going to drop next week a little bit because they did so much hype for this week, and I just don't know if they're going to be able to build that number. Quite frankly, they may have peaked, but with AEW, the hope is that, like Big G said, that we do have a war, and that AEW coming in and there's actually two shows going head to head, that will create a new generation of fans and bring in new casual viewers. But I think the jury's still out on it. Like I said, I think it's going to be like 800,000 for one show and 700,000 for the other show. I do think AEW will cut into some of NXT's audience, but the question is, in the long term, can both companies build their audiences and get over 1 million each, and maybe even combined audience get ahead of Raw? Like, that would be amazing. But I think that there's still a lot of unanswered questions about what the potential is for this Wednesday Night War. Robbie, any other thoughts you have?
Yeah, NXT was fantastic. It was that hour, in my opinion, was the best hour of WWE live, like non-pay-per-view, non-takeover show I've seen all year. The Velveteen Dream, I think he is out of all of AEW and NXT, I think Velveteen Dream is the top guy. And I think he's in a league of all of his own. His promos, everything about this guy just exudes charisma. There is no one better in AEW or NXT than the Velveteen Dream.
Did he not milk that entrance?
Oh, it was
that
great.
was awesome.
It was absolutely fantastic.
The hell out of that entrance.
Yeah, it was good. I did not get to see the second hour of NXT because I could not log in all night. And I was very upset by this because when I have to re-log in, I get really annoyed with that. But I will say the first hour was great. Now, them putting all the gold on Undisputed Era is just a home run to me, because what better way to build a faction? It looks like, when the NWO or DX, like, they put all the belts on these guys, it makes the faction seem legit. It makes them seem like a threat. And the other thing I'm going to say is the women's division is just light years ahead of AEW's women's division. I mean, that Fatal 4-Way that was on there was amazing. And that didn't even have Shayna Baszler in it. They have their ace in the hole that they haven't even deployed on TV yet. So I don't know. I don't think there's going to be much of a war for a while. I think AEW has a long way to go with their production, their women's division, and some other things. They have some great things going for them, don't get me wrong. Cody Rhodes, phenomenal talent. I think he's one of the best minds in the business. They have, I think, a better tag team division in AEW. But, man, when it comes to main event talent in the women's division and production value, I just don't see them beating NXT.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see what these ratings are going to be each week once they go head to head.
It'll be interesting for sure, yeah.
WWE has a traction right now more than AEW. I mean, all we know from AEW is they can sell these arena shows of 10 to 15,000 people. But it's the same fans traveling too. They're not necessarily getting different cities fans. You know what I mean?
So that's what I'm curious to see is, these AEW shows that we've seen as the most hardcore wrestling fans traveling to these shows. I am curious, and I know my disdain for Orange Cassidy is just out there all over the place. I'm curious what some of these lesser guys like Orange Cassidy and Marco Stunt, what kind of reaction are they going to get from casual fans who might be showing up there in a Minnesota arena who've never heard of them before? Are they going to get this huge chance, or are people just going to stand there confused like, why did I just spend money on this? So that to me is going to be the big test.
The good news for AEW is that they got several weeks in these top markets, Washington, D.C., which is sold out, although there's hundreds or thousands of tickets on StubHub because the scalpers got so many of those seats. But, they're going to be in Boston. They're going to be in Philadelphia. They're running all the hardcore wrestling cities. So they'll have a little bit of time to build these stars.
What Robbie just described, that'll be me when I go to Full Gear in November for...
I remember you hating on AEW. Now you're going to one of their shows. Boy.
Look,
it's the war. It's the war. You're scouting. That's what you're doing.
Yeah, there you go. I'm scouting.
You're scouting now? Nice.
There you go. I just, I never said I hate. Well, at first I said I hated AEW, but I'm giving
Did
it
you call it a
chance.
t-shirt company?
What?
You, Big G, when I hear Triple H and the fans at Full Sail or whoever does it says we are NXT,
Yeah.
I only hear one voice and it's yours.
There you go.
Let's go to the main event. Like let's seriously go to a super heavyweight, a former. I don't care if he had one of match taken from his record because he doped. Brock Lesnar is the real deal. People all across the United States knows who Brock Lesnar is. And look, he lost to Seth. He put Seth over twice this year. Yeah. I know he cashed in the Money in the Bank, and I know he won the title back. But let's face it, he put Seth over on the two big events of this year. There is no way, there is absolutely no way that he has not taken the WWE title from Kofi Kingston on SmackDown with potentially more casuals watching it because it's on Fox, right? And I'm telling you, I've cringed over this. Kofi winning it and the way it all happened, right? Aaron, if it would have happened at the Elimination Chamber or in February out of nowhere like that, I would have been like, wow, oh, okay. But then they delayed on it, and then they built it up to WrestleMania, and I didn't buy into it. Ratings have been down with Seth and Kofi and Becky as champion. And I'm not saying they're the best with Brock as champion, but let's face it. Things are always more interesting in the heavyweight division when Brock has the title, whether he has it on there every week or you only see him once a month or once every 2 months. Who wants to start with this? Because finally, not The Rock, but Brock has come back to end this tyranny or whatever you want to call it of Kofi Kingston. Not believable. I can't stand it. I'm glad Brock's back.
Well, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do if Kofi beats Brock?
If Brock Lesnar does not win the WWE Championship on SmackDown, I said I'm going to cancel the network for the rest of the year, which, I can get it back for Royal Rumble. But
you should shave your head.
That's taking $30 out of, 3 months worth, that's taking $30 out of WWE's pocket, plus tax because I live in Ohio.
Shave your head. If you're that confident Brock is going to win, shave your head if Kofi wins.
I don't do those bets. I don't do those bets. But
well, as they say, there's a first time for everything.
I'm confident enough where I don't need to make a bet. I'm just saying Brock is going to win that title. And for anybody who thinks otherwise,
will you buy and wear a Kofi Kingston shirt for all your videos?
No, there you go. I like it.
We got to make it something for these Kofi marks that are just loving it right now.
You got to wear Kofi Kingston
shirt
for the rest of the year.
Yes, we'll make something like that interesting. If Kofi retains, and I'm not saying win, I'm flat out retained, right, by any means. If he's the WWE champion after that show on Fox, that SmackDown on Fox, I will get a Kofi shirt, meaning I have to shill money to WWE, and I will wear it on every NoDQ video the rest of 2019.
Oh, there we go.
Well, anyway,
now we're talking.
Rob, I want to go to you because I know you can't wait for this either. I know.
Well, apparently my cat has never had attention her entire life now that she's decided. So, I think both Jade and myself are quite excited to see Kofi Kingston lose his title. And again, I'm going to say what I said earlier in the video, and if anyone disagrees with me, I'd love to hear that. But I feel like you could hear a pin drop after his match with Randy Orton in that arena. It was dead silent. People are over it. Like, people cheer when he comes out. They have the pancakes. People are excited because I think it's more or less they like to sing along with the New Day song. But yeah, I think his reign has come to an end. I think we got it all out of our system. It should have ended probably 4 months ago. But he's had okay matches. It's just, I don't think he's drawing power for SmackDown. So I am excited to see Lesnar do this again, because with Fox wanting a more serious, edgy show, I think we could just have Brock be the Destroyer. Hopefully he shows up more, but hopefully it's in his contract that he's here more than every 3 months. But Brock the Destroyer, Brock being violent, Brock being Brock is a lot better than a pancake champion. And that's the story I'm sticking to.
Aaron Rift.
I like what you said there about the pancakes. I agree with everything you guys said. I think it's time for Brock to regain the title. And like I said earlier, you can do Brock Lesnar versus Bray Wyatt and have Bray Wyatt beat Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series and build up Bray. Kofi had a nice little run, but yeah, you look at Night of Champions. When he came out there, it was so quiet. The crowd only reacted, I feel like, just because they've been conditioned to, do the New Day rocks and all that stuff. But yeah, nobody really reacted to Kofi Kingston like he's a superstar. they just were like indifferent to him, and he's the WWE champion. So at least with Brock becoming WWE champion again, the WWE title will have prestige again, and people actually feel like the best guy is the champion. Like, do people really believe Kofi is the best guy in the company? Talking about kayfabe terms, of course, like as the guy that's the toughest that nobody can beat. Do you really buy into that with this character? Can you suspend disbelief? And the answer is no. Despite him beating a lot of people, you just don't buy into it that this guy is, in kayfabe, the toughest SOB in WWE, that he can kick out of everything, that he's stronger than anybody else, that he's just like the alpha superstar. You don't buy it from him. You know, he's a great wrestler, a great entertainer, but he's more of that underdog type of character. And yeah, they told the story, which was nice at WrestleMania, but it's dragged on for way too long. So yeah,
Real quick, Aaron.
Yeah.
Do you think did they turn Daniel Bryan face in these last few weeks just to give Brock Lesnar someone to chase his title that fans will get behind?
That remains to be seen. I mean, I think for the time being, we're going to get that tag team match, Roman Reigns and Daniel Bryan versus Harper and Rowan, and that'll be a storyline for a while. But I don't know why Bryan's turning face. Maybe it's just because they felt
I'm holding my breath. I think it still could be a ruse. We'll see.
Still could be
maybe. Yeah.
But yeah, Daniel Bryan, he was doing so well too with that character earlier this year. So it's kind of sad that that's pretty much fizzled out. So I guess they might as well turn him babyface now. But like you said, could be a swerve. Daniel Bryan could be the mastermind of this new heel faction. Who knows? Big
Aaron,
G.
Before I pass to Big G, that's what bothers me so much about Kofi's reign is Daniel Bryan with that heel gimmick had something going so good. I would have loved to see that evolve into a faction with Luke Harper instead of doing what they're doing now. And so that's one reason why, to me, Kofi's reign is just like all you people that hated David Arquette and Vince Russo's reigns in WCW 2000, this Kofi reign and Jinder's reign. This Kofi reign is all of those balled up to one for me. And I'm not saying that to get a reaction. That's how much I hated it, right? I did. I thought it was just a nasty title reign.
Let's not compare him to David Arquette, but I mean...
No, let's compare him to David Arquette, because David Arquette
one was a wrestler.
David Arquette has came full circle and trained and actually has some pretty good matches.
Imagine Tito Santana, like in 1992, all of a sudden getting this big push and winning the WWE title. Would you really have believed it back then?
Well, Vince Russo got WCW on the cover of USA Today. Now, not that really mattered, but I mean that's how bad WCW 2000 was.
You were really on Russo's nuts today.
Not on his nuts. I'm stating facts that everybody like Brian Alvarez and yourself ignore a lot. You want to point out bad stuff, but you don't give him credit for at least attempting to survive to keep a dead product alive. I mean, you know what I mean? For all the things that might have been bad in WCW 2000, there was at least one, maybe two good things for every bad thing. So Big G, take it away on Brock Lesnar. Maybe have Jamaican Big G come in for this? I don't know. No, you don't want to make people mad.
All right. I'm glad Lesnar's back. You know, I popped when he came out. I didn't expect it at all. I figured if anything, he would have showed up on like the debut episode of SmackDown on Fox. I pray to God, to the wrestling gods, that Lesnar does beat Kofi, because I'm over Kofi. I think I was over Kofi, you know, a month or two after he won the WWE title. I was happy they put it on him, you know, the Cinderella story, yada, yada, yada. But Lesnar will bring credibility back to the WWE title. He needs to take like a flamethrower or something and destroy all the pancakes. Beat up Mr. Buttersworth or whoever makes the pancakes. And once Kofi loses, have, you know, Big E turn on the New Day finally and have something new with all three of them going forward. Keep Kofi and Xavier as a tag team if you want, and have Big E turn on both of them. But Brock Lesnar is champion. I am 100% behind, and I hope it happens.
It just makes people mad, and I like that. I mean, I like people, and if you have the right person chasing them, maybe you can finally make the legit star. But I mean, they've always struggled for that, and because they don't know when to pull the trigger. You know, they just don't know how to. Like the Fiends is very intriguing, and I hope they pull the trigger when it's needed.
I hope so too. Yeah.
So there you have it. What do you think, NoDQ Galaxy, about Brock Lesnar potentially becoming WWE champion again? I know on my Twitter feed I've seen the Kofi fans yelling at me, but I've also seen people saying Brock all the way. So let us know in the comments below. That's all I got for this week. Let's go around and do our plugs. Big G.
Yep, NoDQ.com/Big G takes it to my Twitter page. NoDQ_Big G on Instagram. Jeff Hills on Facebook. Is it NoDQ.com/merch, Aaron?
Yep.
Yep. Go there. You can get the Troll Slayer shirt that Virtue is wearing. Hoodies, hats, coffee cups. Everything is on there. You can still go to Pro Wrestling Tees and search NoDQ and get the NoDQ video shirt that Aaron's watching. Yeah. Well, the NoDQ.com pens, but I don't know if Aaron has any of those still. That's it for me. Robbie, take it away.
You guys can find me on Twitter at NoDQVice. Let me know, am I the smartest guy in the room, or do you guys think I'm a complete idiot full of myself? And definitely follow me on Twitter and like my best comment ever, which NXT has no shaky cam. It was the greatest thing of the year. Aaron Rift.
Well, wait a minute. Didn't they have a shaky cam during the brawl? Oh, you missed it, so never mind.
Oh yeah, they had it in the second hour. I didn't see it.
Yeah, you missed the whole brawl that ended the show. And yeah,
okay.
they kind of did the whole shaky camera work for that.
Yeah, gross.
Yeah, for most of it, it was nice, but yeah, they had to do it for that crazy brawl to make it clear to everyone that this is out of control. You got to have the shaky camera work.
Right, yeah.
And by the way, how's that coming off so far? With are you the smartest guy in the room or the biggest idiot? Like, what are people saying so far?
Get the shirt out there, then people will be able to answer.
Well, this is my opinion on it. No one's told me I'm an idiot so far, so I'm assuming that every single one of our viewers thinks I'm the smartest guy in the room.
Well, there you go. Fair enough. All right, so yeah, stay tuned to NoDQ.com for the very latest. We got a lot of stuff coming up. AEW just 2 weeks away, under 2 weeks away now. NoDQ CW is back, and that's all I got. Virtue, let's go ahead and wrap up this bad boy.
NoDQ.com/Virtue. Oh, so it's now NoDQ.com/merch instead of shirts. Yeah. Good. I'm glad you told me that. Follow me on Twitter at NoDQ_Virtue. Follow Vince Russo at the Vince Russo. So for Big G, for Robbie Vice, for Aaron Rift, I'm Virtue. See you next time.